right, welcome to another Monday night installment of the Fragments of Silicon Reviews. Had to deal with the family this past weekend, so I had to shift the reviews to here because, trust me, I didn't want to have children in the background, and you probably wouldn't want to hear children in the background, especially when they are very yelly and cry and all that, the things that children do. Anyway, so 4 reviews up this week. The first of which is Geometry Survivor. Geometry Survivor is a roguelike survival where you fight waves of enemies. Unlike innovative upgrades in the shop, acquire new ships, and conquer the unforgiving grid world. Right, so a more succinct way of describing this game is, what if Vampire Survivors plus Geometry Wars? No, seriously, that's what this is. It's, if you took the everything from Geometry Wars and you applied it to the Vampire Survivors formula, you get this game, Geometry Survivors. Its name even works out that way.
Weird.
Yeah. And it's it's yet another game that is falling under the influence of Vampire Survivors' ever-tightening grip on the indie scene these days.
Indeed.
Believe me, this is far from the first, Vampire Survivors alike that we've covered.
I think Naka has a running joke of how far you can go without actually having to play Vampire Survivor at this point.
Yeah. Thing is, we've actually reviewed that a while back. I remember not giving it high marks, but I will admit that the formula was a lot newer then. By now, I know what Vampire Survivors looks like. I know what it generally plays like, and this fits the bill. And
we've also played more interesting versions of it and subversions. But that's another review entirely.
I mean, we did that on Friday.
Yeah.
Now that Vampire Hunters has an actual level mode, it's far more interesting now than it was when we actually did it, on the impressions. But yeah, so the basic, I can't even call it plot. Much like Geometry Wars, there's no plot here. You are just a geometry ship trying to survive against hostile shapes.
So your typical geometry class.
Yeah. I mean, that works as well as anything else.
I've seen plots do more with less.
I suppose, but once again, you're just a shape. You're, in this case, a hexagon. You can unlock other ships.
Yes, but are you the bestagon?
You're not CGP Grey.
I wish I was, though.
Anyway, so once again, in typical Vampire Survivors fashion, you have to survive a certain amount of time in order to win the game. In this case, it's 20 minutes. I believe that's a 5-minute increase over your typical Vampire Survivors clone. Does it make that much of a difference? Not really. Certainly not in the broad strokes. Maybe in the margins with, the endurance test, at least at first. Because once again, since this is aping Vampire Survivors to perhaps a shocking degree, I'm pretty sure if people are seeing the game on screen, they're not thinking Vampire Survivors. They're probably thinking it's a Geometry Wars game. Here's the secret to that. You can't copyright geometry shapes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, you know, just because Geometry War, like, and there are mobs here that are just, I saw them in Geometry Wars, like the blue diamonds and the pink wheels.
Yep.
Pinwheels. You know. Yeah, these things.
There's a special place in hell for those things.
Yeah, but they're different here. They don't have the same AI.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And that's actually important if you're a Geometry Wars veteran. Just because you see the same shapes here doesn't mean they're going to act the same. This isn't an actual Geometry Wars title.
You can tell because spinning the right stick does nothing.
Nope. It's like you have no control over any of your shots. Because once again, it's Vampire Survivor.
Mm-hmm.
You know. What platform was Geometry Wars for? Xbox 360. It wasn't on that many platforms. PC got the first, and the third game was like on the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. Like you can get the original Geometry Wars Retro Evolved on the Steam store.
Oh, there was a DS one.
Yes, there was. There was also a Wii version.
I quite enjoyed the DS one, but that's another discussion entirely.
Yes. Anyway, yeah, and once again, I'm wondering how many times Vampire Survivors is going to come up in this review, because any mechanic I talk about here is going to be like Vampire Survivors. You know, it's the upgrade system from Vampire Survivor. Like, maybe not quite the weapon selection.
Mm-hmm.
But,
I mean, I can kind of see the bones of some of the stuff from Vampire Survivor, just they added neon.
Right. I'm like, and it's played over a techno soundtrack.
Yeah.
Which is good, but not as good as Geometry Wars' music was.
Yeah,
for the record.
Granted, you know, Geometry Wars probably one of the better soundtracks of its era.
I'd say so. Like, anyway, so, you know, this plays out once again like Vampire Survivors, and it's ilk. You try to survive for 20 minutes. You probably won't, at least in the get-going. But what you want to do is you want to upgrade the everything.
Get all your meta upgrades and so on and so forth.
Yeah. Now the blue dots here, those are the current game currency, let's call them, and your meta progression currency are the yellow dots. But that's not where the real money is made, so to speak, in the meta progression. That's in killing enemies. That's where the bulk of your earnings is going to come from. So, you know, I'd say you're incentivized to kill as many creatures as you can, but you're going to be doing that anyway, because, you know,
you can't stop killing them.
Literally, like, your weaponry is automatic, so it's going to auto-target the shapes and destroy them. Besides, they're shapes.
Oh god, the green things are back.
Yeah, but they're not quite as bad. They're not quite as bad as Geometry Wars' green bastards.
Fair, but, you know, just the flashbacks coming back.
I don't... I know. I remember those things. Fucking annoying. But, yeah. Anyway, and, you know, the upgrades are pretty typical, I'd say. You know, if you can go to the upgrade screen.
Yeah, I will, since I just died. Shop.
Yep. That'd be it. See, like, you know, invulnerability, evolution, credits, like, boost, you know, it's like, you know, all the, you know, make things better by certain increments are here. like, obviously one of the most obviously useful upgrades is going to be the life, because that gives you an extra hit. I suppose that is one way this game differs a bit from the baseline Vampire Survivor formula, in that the hit structure operates much more like Geometry Wars than Vampire Survivors, in that you don't have a bar that goes, gradually goes down. You have like actual, you can only survive 4 hits or whatever. I think the baseline is 3 until you die. And that does make a difference. Because, in like actual Vampire Survivors and the more direct clones, a valid strategy is, just kind of walk over some enemies, take some damage. Here it's very less advisable. Because you don't really have the hit points for it. Now, you will get the very, very occasional health drop. Like, maybe about 3 or 4 hearts per run, if we're talking a full run here. Like, also worth noting is the electric bolts, which are basically the money vacuum. You get that, and all the bits get hoovered up for a certain amount of time. Also, there are unlockable ships that have different things attached to it. Like, the first one you're going to unlock is the randomizer ship, where the upgrades are just randomized. Like, there's another ship that has very high upgrades, but they can't do a mechanic that I haven't talked about, and that's evolution. See, once you fully upgrade a mechanic, like the black hole here or the orbiters, you can further upgrade them to do like reduce cooldown or some other factor. Like the black hole will actually damage enemies instead of just slowing them down. But we're talking like about 3/4 of the way through, you'll be seeing those upgrades. And, so I suppose the paramount question here is, how does it all come together? Yeah, pretty decently. Like I said, this game is going to win very few points for originality. I mean, it's got novelty on its side in the sense of taking 2 very unlike things together and welding them well enough. But I'd say the principal problem with this game is staying power. Like, so it's probably not going to take you all that long to conquer the main summit, and that is the 20-minute time limit. We've seen this in other Vampire Survivors clones, where they just got the one level, and that's it, with the one time limit. So once you're able to get powered up enough to where you can reliably conquer the 20-minute time limit, the replay value just nosedives. Because, what's the incentive? Unlock new ships? Okay, sure. There's some of that there, but honestly, the details on the ships aren't in their, mostly in their speed, or it's like the upgrade paths. It's a subtler change of game, and I'm sure there are those that appreciate that. But honestly, when it comes to your garden variety Vampire Survivor alike, and Vampire Survivor itself, the different characters usually have very pronounced differences in order to facilitate that replay value. Like, But basically, I'd say the biggest problem is it doesn't have enough here to keep you occupied for all that long. You know. Now, granted, there could be DLC coming. I don't know if Geometry Survivor here has a roadmap planned like so many other Vampire Survivor types have. Mm-hmm. But I will say, at the very least, this is a complete experience. You know, it's short, ultimately. You know, like, you're not going to be putting the hundreds of hours that so many have put into Vampire Survivors. Granted, the developer of Vampire Survivors is some sort of freak that just keeps developing content.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, I'm not sure if he's been told to stop, but, you know, he ain't stopping.
I mean, I'm pretty sure if he's been told to stop, he told them to go fuck off.
Yeah. Anyway, so in terms of pricing, Geometry Survivor is, I'd say, a pretty standard Vampire Survivors pricing. That's $4.99. You know, once again, your typical Vampire Survivors alike, and you know, I think the base game of Vampire Survivors is still like $4.99. It's just, you know, Vampire Survivors has a ton of DLC now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my point is, that's a perfectly cromulent price for this particular product. And that's also like the same running price as the original Geometry Wars Survival Evolved. You know, which was also pretty similarly bite-sized, but the key to longevity there was leaderboards.
Yeah, I was about to say, doesn't like this thing has any type of like true leaderboards. I'm sure there is the, you know, classic take a screen cap and post it on a, you know, forum or Reddit, but there's no like built-in leaderboards.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely got a score system.
Yeah,
you know that. But yeah, that isn't tied to anything. Like, but I think that kind of exemplifies the literal school of thought behind the game, because you know, Geometry Wars was a at the time modern day throwback to the golden age of arcades. You know, the kind of game that you would clunk quarters down and try to get a high score to impress all the passersby that would see it. You know, it's just instead of having local, you know, top 10, you had leaderboards.
Mm-hmm. And Sergeant, I just keep getting killed by random shapes. Either I run into them or they run into me, and I just run out of lives.
Yeah. Like I said, that's kind of the trip up here, at least at first.
Mm-hmm. And like as you progress through the meta progression stuff, your gun will shoot faster on its own, and so on and so forth.
Yeah. You know, like I said, if you're a veteran to Vampire Survivors, you have seen all of these before. Maybe not in such a neon palette, but still, you know the drill, you know the formula. If you know Vampire Survivors, that's not a bad, you know. Like I said, the problem with this game isn't its ultimate like derivativeness. It does everything solid enough, and it's more visually and conceptually interesting than some of the, oh, hey, we are very, very, very close to Vampire Survivors, to the point where I'm just like, can I just play, you know, Vampire Survivors?
Yeah, I already have Vampire Survivors.
Yeah. Like, if this wasn't like an obligation that a publisher sent us, I wouldn't be covering this. In this case, I probably would have bought this because, you know, it's $5.
Yeah, $5 is about the rough price of something like this.
Yeah. So, like I said, not amazing, but it's not, you know, it's not too generic either.
And honestly, like, I guess if the devs are watching, if you want to put a twin stick mode in there, that would be kind of cool.
I mean, possibly, but everything the game is doing is built towards the auto timing.
Fair, like, I don't mind the auto timing, but some of where the AI or the AI chooses to prioritize are where I don't want to.
I get that. I'm just saying, like, if you're going to this game expecting Geometry Wars, just get that out of your mind right now. I mean, I know, once again, it looks like Geometry Wars.
It looks like Geometry Wars. It sounds like Geometry Wars.
It does not play anything like Geometry Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And believe me, I had the same issue at first too. Because I am a veteran of many Geometry Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Like
all the wars.
Yeah. But you gotta get out of that mindset. You gotta play it like Vampire Survivor. Avoid and use the big ass weaponry to destroy the shapes.
Mm-hmm.
That's the bottom line here. Anyway, so as far as platforms go, pretty much if you've got an active platform, this game is on it. Like, I mean, seriously, it's on Steam, it's on all the consoles, it's on both iOS and Android. Like, granted, this isn't the kind of game I would really want to be playing with a touch screen.
It depends how I have it. If you can crop it towards the controls aren't in your play space, I could see it being okay.
I mean, that's always the biggest issue with games of this nature.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, your thumbs are covering the screen.
Yeah, because I could see this being an interesting chip away time at the doctor's office or on the bus or something.
Yeah.
It would be less something I'd want to play at my computer or my console. This would definitely be hey, I got 10 minutes to kill, or I got 20 minutes to kill. Let's go see if I can beat a run.
Wait, no, this Geometry Survivor is a different one on mobile.
Oh, okay.
Curious.
But it is still on Switch, yes?
Yes.
So yeah, definitely put on the Switch, and that'd be, great place to have it. Is this a different publisher? Anyway, it doesn't really matter. No, it says Geometry Survivor is on Android. So, I don't know what's going on here. Or, I guess it's a different publisher. And sometimes they do change publishers when they're going to mobile.
Yeah. Not sure if it's on iOS.
Yeah, none of us own an iOS device, so...
Yeah. Anyway, still, no matter what the platform, it's going to be a decent buy. Because...
Yeah. And I imagine the thumbs getting in your way on mobile wouldn't be that bad, because you only need to put one thumb there.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
Fair enough. Anyway, so I think we're about done with this game.
Mm-hmm.
Right then. So be sure to tune in after the break, as Petty will be reviewing Draw Writer.